Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the conference. My name is Brian DeGraw. I'm head of professional liability here at Horsham Company. And this webinar is intended to be sort of an agent training process to access the program that we have through Appulate with Hiscox. And I'll run through what all of those names mean for you as well. With me on the call presenting is Vanessa from Appulate and Will from Hiscox. So just a moment on Horsham Company. Vanessa, you can click the next slide. Horsham Company is a managing general agency. We have over 65 years of experience in helping retail agents and brokers, both with small business as well as more difficult to place excess and surplus lines risks. We have partnered with Hiscox Insurance and their Hiscox Now platform, which is the program that we'll be talking about for general liability insurance. Hiscox is a great partner of ours who we've been doing business with for years. And of course, we've partnered with Appulate. They're the technology services platform that is providing this great experience for all of you to quickly be able to transact small business online. So with respect to this general liability product with Hiscox Now, we'll run through, or I will run through some of the industry groups that qualify, that are eligible for this general liability program. And I'm happy to share after the webinar sort of a class list if that's helpful for you. But you'll notice in the demo that Vanessa does here in a few minutes, there's a section on the platform that identifies the eligible class codes as part of the demo. We've selected Hiscox A because they're a tremendous insurance company, and they're very much technology forward, which is critical for all of us when we're transacting small business, right? We want to be as low touch as possible to make money, but also provide a great experience to all of you and a great product so that you feel good about what you're selling. I've got very competitive premiums for risks up to $2 million limit of liability. And we try to make this as competitive as possible on the commission side for all of you. Try to attract you to use this platform, so we pass along 12.5% commission up front, and you'll note that as you grow with us, we also create commission incentives once you hit certain benchmarks, and you can each individually reach out to me if you have any more questions about that, but ultimately we're trying to be competitive on the commission side. So talk a little bit more about Hiscox Now and why they're such a great partner, especially for this platform and this product line. They've been in business for a long time, and they some of the key features that they're so known for is direct bill. It's a fast and simple process. They have a broad appetite, which is great. We try to capture as much business as possible for all of you to be as comprehensive as possible. The part of this that makes it so attractive is that you and Vanessa will demo this. You're going to see how simple it is to get quotes in just minutes on this, and furthermore, you're going to see how easy it is to bind and how everything is at your fingertips, including the policy documents. Furthermore, Hiscox handles all the servicing and billing on this, so we really do kind of take the processes out of your hands so that you're keep it simple to utilize this system. Next slide. Sorry about that. I just had a little technology hiccup. Back on track. So here's the next two slides are a list of the eligible industry segments, and you'll notice that it is very broad for small businesses, including architects and engineers, artists and contractors, consultants, etc. As you go down that line. Vanessa, next slide. There we go. Additional classes include landscaping, legal, marketing and PR, miscellaneous business services. We write a lot of real estate risks through this, as well as retail operations and technology providers. So with respect to the instant quotes that are available, you'll see it's a broad appetite. You're also going to note that how quickly it is to determine eligibility as you're going through the quoting process. I also want to mention that if there happens to be a risk that does not fit on this platform, Horsham Company can step in quickly to help you place that risk if that's something that you would like us to do. And you also note that when you have completed a quote, you'll see in big letters a Bind Now button, and you can take advantage of that, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next couple of slides. So let's talk about the smart application that was developed in concert with between Appulate and Hiscox. They designed it in such a way that it flows really seamlessly. We've uploaded or front-loaded the important questions so that as you're completing them, eligibility is being constantly determined, so that if something does not fit, it lets you know that right away, so that you're not wasting any additional time completing questions that this isn't going to be an eligible risk anyway. So you'll see that there's really an emphasis on this questionnaire asking only the important questions and those that are going to determine eligibility up front. So we'll talk about the quote for just a moment. As I mentioned, that you can request to bind the quote. Vanessa will show you how you can share the quote through the Appulate system if that's something you'd like to be able to do to send it to your clients. You, of course, can save the quote to your desktop and share it that way if you'd like to as well. Once you do click on the bind, you'll seamlessly link to the Hiscox Now portal that's going to help you complete the binding and payment instructions. And it's something important to note. While you can use this to quote as much business as you want to, in order to bind coverage and finalize that process, you will need to become appointed with Horsham Company. There's two ways to do that. The easiest way is to do it through the Appulate system, and Vanessa will demo that for you. You can also just simply reach out to me, and I can send you the documents that you need to do if you need to share those with somebody else on your team. But we try to make that process really simple. There's simply a brokerage agreement that you'd be required to sign, which simply says you're going to pay us, we're going to pay you, and that sort of thing. And attaching your E&O deck page and your I-9 form, and just a few documents that we'll need in order to facilitate that one time. Then you'll be appointed in the system. You'll be appointed with Horsham Company, and you won't have to deal with that again. So now I'm going to pass it over to Vanessa, who's going to talk a little bit about Appulate, and then do a demo for you guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Brian. Hi, everyone. My name is Vanessa Duliar-Kamara. I'm the VP of Operations here at Appulate. As Brian mentioned to you, I'm going to take you through a live demonstration so that you can see how easy it is to use Appulate to submit to Horsham Company. But before I do, I just wanted to take a moment. For those of you that are new to Appulate, I wanted to briefly explain how we fit into this picture, this puzzle here. Appulate is a technology company. We partner with leading insurance companies like Horsham Company and Hiscox to streamline the submission and quoting process for all parties involved in the transaction. We have a growing network of over 30,000 agencies, and we have hundreds of markets, making Appulate the place where agents, MGAs, and carriers do business digitally. And our commitment to you, the agent, is to empower you by expanding your markets, automating your workflow, and saving you time and money. So without further ado here, let's get right into our live demonstration. I'm going to do that by pulling open my Accord form here. You may have your Accord form filled out in a PDF as I have it here. Great. You may have your Accord form filled out in your agency management system. If you do, great. You may not have an Accord form at all and need to start an Appulate, no problem. So we can help with all of those. If you already have the Accord form completed, you'll want to bridge it over using our Appulate uplink tool so that you don't have to start from scratch. It's going to take all of this information and it's going to plug it right into the Hull portal for you within Appulate so that you do not have to rekey it. And in order to do that, you can have it in an Accord PDF saved to your desktop, or you can have it in your agency management system. Our Appulate Uplink tool works with any agency management system. So all you have to do is Appulate it. In other words, you're going to print the Accord form to the Appulate Uplink printer option. All right, once you click print, it will ask you to confirm your Appulate credentials so it knows where to take this information. Go ahead and hit send. On this next page, it may ask you to confirm the line of business. For this demonstration today, we're doing general liability. So we'll leave that selected and click continue. And then it takes us right into Appulate. The information from the Accord form was bridged over so that you don't have to rekey that information. So now the very first step once we're in here is to go ahead and add Hull as your market. So go through your list of selected markets until you find Hull & Company Horsham. Once you select Hull, you'll have a letter indication on the right-hand side that will help guide you through the submission process. It will tell you what the status is of the submission and what questions are missing and required. So you can see that as soon as I bridged over my Accord form, it says that the past effective date would cause this to decline. So not a problem. If you have an outdated Accord form, you can update that Accord form right within the Appulate system. Simply click on the date here, and you can go ahead and update it. So even if you have an outdated Accord form, no problem, you can start right from within there to bridge your information over and move forward with your submission to Hull within the Appulate system. So you have a letter indication now that says that it's accepted, but you still have some questions that are missing and required. You must answer those before you're able to click on the Submit button here on the right-hand side under Action. So there's a couple of ways to go about this. The main goal here is to go and answer all of the questions with the red asterisk. It's telling you how many questions are left in each section to answer. Again, the information that was on the Accord form has been bridged over, so you don't have to do anything with those, but you're more than welcome to update or edit those if you need to. You can also use these live links that will take you directly to where that question is missing and required in the SMART questionnaire. So we'll go through this sort of section by section here, answering any of the missing and required questions. When it has information in a table, you can simply click the drop-down menu to view all of the information that's in this line and answer any of the additional missing and required questions here. So allow me to just... Yes, go ahead, Will.
Oh, sorry, Vanessa. Yeah, as you're doing that, I just wanted to introduce myself. So, hi everybody. This is Will from Hiscox. I did just want to kind of comment on a couple of ways that Appulate is enhanced over the Hiscox Now carrier portal that you already have access through with Hull if you're appointed with them. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that portal, but it's basically just a carrier portal that goes through the same questions as this, but on a Hiscox URL, a Hiscox journey. So I wanted to just comment on one thing straight off the bat. With regards to the Accord uplink, that is something that in the Hiscox Now portal, that information cannot be passed through at the beginning. So that's something immediately that the Appulate journey has over the Hiscox Now carrier portal journey. And as we go through, I'll also just, I'll point out a couple of other ways as Vanessa brings them up that Appulate enhances that Hiscox application that we have. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate that information. So at this point, I've gone ahead and answered the last of the missing and required questions. Again, I just went in there, looked through all of the questions that had a red asterisk next to them, went ahead and answered those. You can keep an eye on the letter indication. If you answer a question that takes us outside of their appetite, as Brian mentioned to you earlier, it will notify you so that you don't waste your time on this submission. Once you have answered, oh, and one other thing, I went ahead and changed the limits here, so you can update that just simply by clicking on it and using the drop-down menu. Once you've answered the missing and required questions, you then get a green A and, more importantly, a green submit button that you can click on. So once you fulfill the requirements, go ahead and click on the submit button. And it's going to automate this process, so it's going to return back an instant quote for you that will appear right below the Hiscox name here in Appulate. So we'll give this a second to load. Now, we have our quote ready for us. It gave us this little pop-up message, and here is our quote. So you could simply open this up by clicking on it here. It's going to open it up on your screen as a PDF. You can save it to your desktop, or you could just simply open it up to review. Brian, did you want to share any information on this?
Sure. So as we talked a little bit about, here's the details of the proposal. This is our cover letter. Indicates who the insured is, the line of business, the premium, the amount of commission as we scroll down, just some disclaimers and additional information about this being a direct bill policy. Now we get into the meat of the Hiscox proposal, where you'll see all the details of the coverage that's being offered. Obviously up front, it shows you some payment options, so they really make it as simple as possible for your clients to be able to pay this either up in full annually, or some billing options that they can choose. Here's the limit information that Vanessa selected for this risk. The next page has the deductible. Clearly, it's attractive from being able to provide zero deductible option on this particular risk. Here's a list of the additional endorsements and exclusions that are on the proposal. And now, Vanessa, you can take it from there.
Great. Thank you, Brian. All right. So back into Appulate. There is a place for you to be able to share this quote with your insured. So let's take a moment here and take a look at a couple of things. Status, quote prepared. So if you're ever unsure as to where you're at in the process, go ahead and take a look at status. So if you want to share this with your insured, there's these three dots on the right-hand side of request to bind. And if you click on that, there's an option to send by email. So you can send this right over to your insured for review right from within the Appulate system. Simply click on send by email, and it's going to give you this pop-up email. So you could go ahead and input your insured's email address, and it puts together a nice little signature line for you, which is fully editable, and it goes ahead and attaches that quote. All right, once you decide to move forward, then you'll go ahead and click on the Request to Bind button. So once you click on Request to Bind, it's going to say, if you're not yet appointed, that it'll give you that data. You're not yet appointed with Hull & Company, and it will give you steps in order to become appointed with Hull & Company, and that's all built into Appulate. So all you have to do is follow the prompts. Click on Get Appointed, and follow the steps here, which I've already done for you. Essentially, you just needed to load all of these documents. You'll attach them just like you do any normal attachment from your desktop. So click on Upload File. Go ahead and choose the file that you're trying to upload. Make sure that you assign it as the appropriate type. So if you're trying to upload a copy of agency insurance license, make sure that you choose that as the type when you're prompted to, so it knows to knock that off the list. It also asks you to sign the appointment agreement. That's all done electronically. Pretty straightforward. Click on this button here and follow the prompts to electronically sign. So once you have the appointment agreement signed and all of the necessary documents attached, all of the ones that are listed here, then you'll be able to click on this Request Appointment button. Once you click on Request Appointment, it says appointment request has been sent. You can see that the status says pending request. This will trigger a notification to Brian's team. They'll go ahead and review, make sure that they have everything that they need in order to appoint you. And once you become appointed, you will receive email notification, and the status up here will change to say appointed. So Brian is doing that for us in the background here. Brian, let us know when that's done and we can move forward.
So great, thanks, Vanessa. So yes, now that Vanessa's requested the appointment, I've received a notification about that. I'm into my Appulate system. I see the request, and I'm simply going to accept the request now that we have all the proper documentation, and it should show up on Vanessa's side that she is now appointed.
All right, great. So let me go ahead and refresh my screen, and yes, I do have the status that says appointed. Again, you don't need to keep logging in here to check to see if you've become appointed. You will receive email notification. And once you do, at that point, it's important to come back into Appulate to continue on with the request to bind. So we'll navigate back into our insured file. It was this ABC Plumbing General Liability. And we now have a green request to bind button that's available for us. So if you would like to move forward and bind, click this button here. And what it's going to do is it's going to launch the Hiscox Now portal so that you can continue on with your bind. So I will continue to navigate through this, and Will is going to talk to us a little bit more about how to go through the bind here on Hiscox Now. Will?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vanessa. So everybody, this is the Hiscox Now carrier portal now. So you've done the quote, you've put in all the information in the Appulate system. You're purely coming through to Hiscox Now and the Hull & Company co-branded platform to do the binding and the payment of the product. So for plumbing and commercial industrial, we've only got general liability. But what you'll find is for some other classes of business, let's say you're writing an accountant, we don't just have general liability, we also have a business owner's policy that it can be upgraded to, and there's also professional liability if you felt or if the client needed some sort of cross-sell and you wanted to sell them to Hiscox products. But for this one, we've just got plumbing and general liability, so we can click continue there, Vanessa. And what you're going to find here is it's really all the information that you've put into Appulate. So this is just you verifying that all the information is correct. So you've already done all of this as you go. So you can just scroll down to the bottom, Vanessa, of this and click continue again. Again, this is just an opportunity for you to check all the information, make sure it's all correct. Again, you can go through and go all the way down and click continue again. If you have any additional services, you can highlight them here. Again, you haven't bound the quote yet, so you can still make amendments at this time. And here is the premium that was posted on Appulate as a bindable premium. So you got the $65.62 a month, and so what it is with our contractor class, it's 25% minimum earned premium. So that's why the down payment is 3 times the monthly amount. And then you can also still make some changes as you go here. You can add some business property and equipment coverage. You can change the limits. You can include TRIA, whatever you need to do here. So if you go down to the bottom, Vanessa, what they need to do is the agent, you guys will need to read the legal important information. So Vanessa, if you click the important information, right there, that has stuff like the warranty statement is in there, claims and loss history pieces in there, and some other questions that you just need to verify. Quick clarification: if the business that you're looking to write insurance for has had claims, Hiscox and Hull & Company can still write that account. It would just need to be a call through to the Hiscox Service Center, which the number is on the Hiscox Now platform and also in Appulate. So you can exit out of there, Vanessa. And then you'll select My Customer Has Read and Agrees with These Statements, and then click Continue. Perfect. And then the next page is going to require a tick in both boxes. And so this is going to be really confirming that they're okay with electronic transactions. So the policy documents will be emailed automatically right after payment. One copy will go to Hull & Company, so Brian will get a copy. One will, of course, go to you guys as the agents, and then one copy will go to the end insured as well. So you're basically going to have 3 copies of these policy documents there. So once we click continue there, the other is making sure they've read the fraud warning. And again, you can review your application at that time, but you've already done that once already. And so this is the payment screen now. So as Brian mentioned earlier, we are direct bill and direct bill only. And so right now you can choose based on how your insured wants to pay. Is it monthly or is it one annual payment? So if you pay monthly, as I said, there's a 25% minimum earned premium, and so it's 10 monthly installments. That last month is put into the down payment, so it's just 10 months starting from the next month. So if you click on that pay monthly, Vanessa, then you've got the option to enter the customer's credit card in here, and again it can be a credit card or a debit card. And so once you enter that information, you'll then click complete. If the card is successful, then it will say thank you for your purchase. The policy will then be bound at that moment. So as soon as payment is done, the policy is bound, and within 30 minutes, you'll receive policy documents along with a certificate of insurance, so an Accord 25, for that insured as well, because we understand, especially in the small business space, the customers that you guys are working with, they need that certificate, yesterday sometimes for a job. So that will be sent out immediately. And again, as Brian mentioned earlier, any sort of servicing of the account, you can call Hiscox directly to get servicing on that account, any sort of midterm adjustments, or any such nature changes in credit card. All of that can be done with Hiscox directly. So really, from soup to nuts, this the quote, bind, and payment can be kind of between 5 and 10 minutes, especially once you've done this a few times. I just wanted to, while I've got the stage, so that's everything on the Hiscox Now platform. If we go back to the Appulate platform really quick, Vanessa, I did just want to highlight a couple other pieces that Appulate do really well that the Hiscox Now carrier portal can't do by itself. So if you look at the names if you look at Hull & Company Horsham, you see the green A to the right of it. And as Vanessa was going through the platform, it highlighted exactly what questions need to be answered. It also, if it was a decline, it would tell you exactly why it got declined. It would tell you what question you answered that warranted the decline. That's something that on Hiscox Now, the carrier portal, it doesn't give you that real-time interaction and guidance. It'll wait until you're at the end of the page, and then it'll tell you. So this is saving you, Appulate is saving you time on the application from that standpoint. And the last thing I wanted to highlight was the forms section of Appulate. If you go into that, Vanessa. So at Hiscox, with the Hiscox Now portal, you can enter all the information. If you get declined, we don't actually create forms in the background if you get declined. So unfortunately, that data that you filled in, you're going to have to key it in elsewhere. With Appulate, if it's information that can fit into an Accord document and you're putting it into the application, it will be put into this Accord 125 or Accord 126 or whatever Accord form has the questions, and that is automatically being populated. And then you could send that through to Brian to ask him to look for other markets for general liability. So again, the three real enhancements with the Appulate platform compared to just going to Hiscox Now, Hull & Company's Hiscox Now portal directly. One is that you've got the Accord uplink. So the information that you've already got is put into the application. That's something that Appulate can do. The other thing Appulate does is with the status of the quote with regards to whether it's accepted, whether it's an underwriting referral, whether it's declined, and it tells you exactly why. That's something really important. And then the third is the forms section, which Hiscox Now doesn't do automatically by itself, but Appulate does right here. So that's all I had, but I'm really excited to see how everybody finds the Appulate portal and the partnership with Hull & Company and Hiscox.
Well, if I could just jump in again, this is Brian. Just to give you some insight into the processes behind the scene, you wouldn't even need to initiate a conversation with me or my team if an account has been declined. Just like you're getting notified as you're entering this information, that status is sent to my team immediately if it has been declined. We'll initiate the discussion with you. about whether you'd like us to take that out to market and find another option for you. You may beat us to the punch, and that's great too, in sending me an email, notifying me, or calling me. But generally, we're monitoring this pretty closely, and we're notified throughout the process so that we can jump on this for you and try to fulfill the servicing of this account to get it to a bind status.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so we are almost to the end of our presentation today. There's just a couple of things left on the Appulate side that I wanted to take you through. Then we have a few more closing slides, and we'll go ahead and open it up for any questions. So earlier I mentioned if you have your completed Accord forms, you can start there so that you don't have to rekey any of that information, and it makes your submission time a lot faster. If you don't have access to Accord forms, though, you can always start directly from within the Appulate system. So let me show you quickly how that works. You'll go ahead and log into Appulate, and on the very first page that it takes you to, there's this Add New Customer or Prospect button. Go ahead and click on that, and it will ask you to type in the insured's contact information. Let's go back there. The insured's contact or the name of the insured, the FEIN, all of these other fields, and click Continue. And on this next page, you'll go ahead and choose the line of business. Again, for today's demo, we're doing general liability. It plugs in automatically an effective and expiration date for you, which you can make edits to, and then click Continue. So it's just those first couple of screens that are different, and from here, the process is the same. You're going to first add Hull & Company Horsham as your market, and then the letter indication is going to appear with the questions that are missing and required. Now remember, in this case, you do not have an Accord form, so you're starting directly in the Appulate system, and you're going to answer these questions directly from within Appulate. And once you fulfill the requirements, then you can click on the Submit button. And to Will's point earlier, as you're typing in the information directly into the Appulate system, it produces Accord forms for you in the background, which you can access in the Forms section. All right, so whether you have an Accord form completed or not, Appulate is still for you. So the last thing I want to go through is setup to ensure that you can start using Appulate today to submit to Hull & Company. The very first page that you want to be familiar with is, of course, our sign-in page. So appulate.com/sign-in. Here's where you enter your Appulate credentials to go ahead and sign in. Everyone that was invited to this webinar already has Appulate credentials. If you do not remember your password, simply click on this Forgot Password link, and it will take you through the prompts to go ahead and reset it. Once you click on Sign In, it takes you into that first page of Appulate that we had talked about, where there's that Add New Customer or Prospect button. But on the top here, you do want to make sure that you have Hull & Company Horsham listed as your selected markets. So under Markets and Selected, you will see all of the markets that you've chosen to work with in Appulate. Make sure that Hiscox is on that list. If it is ever removed for whatever reason, or you don't yet see it on this list, you should. But if you don't, you can always go to Markets and Available, type in Hull, and once you find Hull & Company Horsham, go ahead and click on the plus sign on the right-hand side under Select to move that over to your list of selected markets. All right, so you'll also want to download Uplink. Appulate Uplink is found under Tools and Appulate Uplink. This will take I think it's less than a minute actually, to install on your desktop as a print driver. So if you're trying to bridge over those Accord forms from your agency management system or an Accord PDF, you do have to make sure that you have this installed on your desktop. It works with any agency management system, so go ahead and choose the one that you work with from this drop-down menu here. If you don't see yours listed, we do have an other option that you can click on. All right, click on Download Uplink Driver, and it will install on your desktop in less than a minute. If you need more instructions or more detailed information on that, you can always click on this link. And if you have any questions or issues, you can always email support@appulate.com. All right, if you want to see, if you're not quite sure if you've downloaded this or not, if you go to Print Any Document, you will see the Appulate uplink listed as one of your printer options along with your home or your office printer, for example, if you have this installed successfully. All right, that's it in terms of setup. So I am going to take it back to our slides here. Brian has a couple of additional slides as well as his contact information that he would like to share, and then we will go ahead and open it up for questions. Brian?
Great. Yeah, you can actually click on the next one for this and the next slide. So I just wanted to give you my contact information. I'm here at any time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Vanessa also mentioned the support at Appulate.com. That's for any challenges that you're having either accessing the Appulate system or while you're using the system. I find them to be incredibly responsive via email to kind of help you get through any challenges that you're having while using the Appulate system. I am, of course, always available. If you need an extra demo or you want to spend some one-on-one time actually going through a risk and talking about eligibility and getting through the quoting system, feel free to just email me or call me, and we can schedule a time to do that. Not a problem at all. And in closing, I guess I would just kind of remind you that the whole intent of this is really to simplify the small business processes for you. While we were, it may have seemed that there's a lot of information being provided and it took some time. That's because we were talking through every single part of the process. So as Will had mentioned, as you do it a few times, you're going to get really comfortable with it and be able to fly through it, and it'll be a really seamless process for you to be able to use the system and make just life a whole lot easier for processing small business.
Great, thank you, Brian. All right, so we have quite a few questions rolling in here that Will, Brian, and I will go ahead and do our best to answer for you. So the first question, a couple of questions regarding the PowerPoints being emailed over to you. That's not a problem. We'll make sure to get you a copy. And I'm currently signed up with the basic Appulate. Are all the features of Appulate available, such as getting a quote and bind, or are those features only available under the subscribed member of Appulate? That's a great question. So the entire workflow that I showed you from start to finish for Hull & Company is absolutely free for you to use. So you do not have to pay for any of this. The entire demo today is included in your standard account. Is there a printable or PDF version of the customer agreement, or is this included in the client electronic signature application? So yes, once you go through the electronic signature process, it will allow you to download that into a PDF. Let me sort through these questions here. So what is the process to be able to use this so that Hiscox Appulate printer shows up and we can print a cord from our agency management system? Yes, so you need to have the Appulate uplink tool downloaded. That is a print driver. So if you go to print your record form from your agency management system or cord PDF, hit print, choose Appulate uplink as your printer option. It will ask you to confirm your Appulate credentials and then just bridge all of that information over into the Appulate system. And then you'll choose then you'll choose Hull & Company, answer the questions, hit submit. Why do we have to go through the Appulate process? Can't we write a GL policy directly with Hiscox? Will, Brian, did you want to answer that one?
Sure. So I'll take that one. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is provide a great experience for you to be able to transact this business online. In order to access Hiscox, you would come through Hull & Company or any other appointed broker that you have that is also appointed with Hiscox, if you want to just go through the standard way of emailing submissions. As Will had also mentioned, if you do navigate your way through to Hull & Company's website, you'll see the Hiscox Now tab on our website. So that's hullandcompany.com/Horsham. You'll see the Hiscox Now tab, And there are some additional products that are available through that site, including, as Will mentioned, some professional liability coverages, a BOP. And so that's certainly an option for you. As Will had pointed out, it just doesn't have some of the features that Appulate provides here by using their system to make things a little bit easier for you to transact, at least for general liability.
Thank you, Brian. A couple of questions here around some of the features that we went over. This webinar has been recorded and will be shared with you so that you can take a look at those another time. If you have any questions beyond that, feel free to email Brian or our support team. Happy to answer those questions for you. Do you have a website to learn more about doing business with Hull & Company? Brian?
Yeah, so if the question is truly about doing more business with Hull & Company, we absolutely do have a website. So it's www.hullco.com/Horsham, where you can just search for us in your web browser. You'll see all of the products and services that we offer through the various teams here at Hull & Company. So feel free to go that route. And then Vanessa, they may also be inquiring about just using the Appulate system and tools that they have available, videos for training, webinars, and that sort of thing. Perhaps you can point out where they can get access to more tutorial information for easily using the system.
Absolutely. So you can go to appulate.com for more information. Once you're signed in, we have a e-learning course that's available to you. We also have a link to our YouTube channel within our help section where we have hundreds of videos on the process, including a video specifically for Hull. So, and again, this webinar will be recorded or has been recorded and will also be posted to our YouTube page as well. All right, there's another question about if we are going to be adding more markets. I would like to answer that question, and then I'll also toss it over to Brian because we both can answer that question. So in terms of more markets to Appulate, Appulate has partnered with hundreds of markets that are available to you in the Appulate system. So we are constantly adding new markets, and we have hundreds of markets currently available to you. If you have any additional questions on that, you can always email support@appulate.com to find out more information. And Brian, I know that you also have more markets and are adding more. Did you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. So we're constantly identifying different market opportunities to integrate with the Appulate system. I don't have any announcement to make on that, but we are in the works with others to be able to add additional product lines that we find will be useful for this Appulate system, and certainly more news we'll announce when those are ready to go. I'm also interested in your ideas, so feel free to email me at brian.degraw@hullco.com if there are certain product lines that you'd like to see on here, and we can continue discussions both with Hiscox and Appulate to add new products. And just a commercial for Hiscox, as a terrific partner on this, essentially, they are, and I'll let Will offer some insight, but, the more we use this and take advantage of the general liability product that's on there, the more successful it is, the more encouraged Hiscox will be to add additional products and coverages as well.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. And I'll add a little bit to that as well. So definitely, the more this gets used, the more it's successful. Then we can definitely look to build in other products. I mean, as Brian mentioned, we've got our professional liability and we've got our business owners policy. We're also going to be bringing out cyber insurance as a standalone and a package in the latter half of 2020 as well. So, Hiscox is constantly creating more products that will benefit Hull & Company, and then, vicariously will benefit Hull & Company's agents. So, we're more than happy to keep on building, as long as this is a successful way and an easy way for you guys to transact business.
Great, thank you, Will. All right, so it looks like we've powered through all of our questions. If you think of any questions after this webinar, again, please jot down Brian's contact information as you see it here on my screen. Also, please jot down the email support@appulate.com. Our support team is happy to answer any of your questions or route you to the appropriate team member here at Appulate that can help you. On behalf of the entire Appulate team, I'd like to thank Brian and Will for joining us on this exciting webinar today, and I would like to thank all of you that have taken time out of your day to join us. I hope that you found this helpful and informative.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Bye now.